Welcome back to the Breakroom, our daily show that keeps you updated on the nerdy news you need to know. We're excited to be here with you on this lovely Tuesday. Today, we're talking Stranger Things, going back to where it started. James Gunn has a plan. Tony Stark giving advice to a specific cast member of Wakanda Forever. And we talk about what is Val's plan. Something we've speculated a lot on. The big lingering question, one of the big lingering questions coming out of Wakanda Forever. With me to discuss those things and more, we've got Brandon Barrick.
Oh, hello there.
We've got Jessica Clemons.
Oh, hello.
And we've got Corey Chandra.
I thought we were saying it in weird ways. You said it in a weird way.
I said it very normally, like a normal human being.
There is not a single word you've ever said in a day that sounds normal.
And as always, we are not joined by Tommy Bechtold, who's on somewhat permanent suspension. Till we see him in the flesh, he's suspended. But in lieu of his presence, let's get to some headlines.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Oh, this is the ginger seat. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
I
that's where we
now
sit
I
them.
understand.
That's where we sit them.
Yeah, I get it now. It all makes sense.
So Stranger Things' final season will tonally feel like season 1. This is according to Ross Duffer of the Duffer Brothers, creators of Stranger
Do you
Things.
think he asked his brother before he went out with that statement?
I think they
Which
speak
one's
for
the
each other.
younger
don't
one?
they? I don't know.
Today I learned one's named Ross. I've never heard them as anything but the
Ross?
Duffer Brothers.
Well, oh my! You distracted me so much. I was like Ross and Doss, and I didn't know why. I don't.
Obviously, Ross and Doss Duffer were destined
It would
for
be
greatness.
Ross and Dose, right? Anyways,
We have met Duffy Duffer, the rougher Duffer brother.
that's right.
The Rougher Duffer
That's right.
brother?
He made an appearance in the break room.
Is that the one that flips houses?
During For Your Consideration panel, Ross Duffer was interviewed, and he said the final season coming up is a culmination of all the seasons. So it sort of got a little bit from each. What we're trying to do is go back to the beginning a little bit. Interesting. Who knows what that means?
Hopefully it means they kill some kids.
They didn't kill any kids in the beginning.
Barb,
She was
Justice
a
Barb.
Child.
She was a grown woman.
I will say we speculate a lot. That cast has ballooned. There's a lot of regulars. Each season we kind of add new cast members, and none of them die for the most part.
So
It's gonna be the dad.
Yeah,
It's gonna be the dad. It's gonna
Billy,
be the dad with
Sean
glasses.
Astin, what's his name? Eddie. Yeah, a few of them, but otherwise everybody survives. So
I
we'll
feel
see.
like the fourth season was especially dark, and the first season was especially fun, and it was like 80s fun. Second season was a little like aliens, sci-fi. Third season was a full-on like summer adventure. So if they go like Goonies Amblin tone, I feel like that would capture the whole vibe.
Yeah, and it will be interesting because like those actors are so much older. You know, it's one thing when it's like a bunch of 11-year-olds on their bicycles.
11-year-olds?
Is that how old? There you are. 11s and year-olds. But now that they're teens, right? And they look like teens and they're playing teens, it is like it changes the storytelling. But anyways, we're excited for that. Francisco Villapando is sending in a super chat, hashtag free Tommy. Well, you're gonna need to super chat a lot more than that to free Tommy, Francisco.
He's got legal fees.
His legal defense fund.
And let me tell you, he's pretty guilty, so he's going to need a really hefty team. A pretty hefty team.
I mean, we might see Tommy on the show this week. We'll see. Again, we'll see what the courts decide. Tony Gilroy, showrunner of Andor, the Breakroom's official show of winter 2022. It's the only show of winter 2022. But he says that season 2 of Andor will be very different from season 1. And a reminder, this show greenlit 2 seasons out the gate, right? Like when they started season 1, they knew they were definitely getting a season 2, which is the first time that's happened on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Of all the Marvel and at least of all the Marvel and Star Wars shows that we know of. And they kind of like went right into production on season 2. I think we're getting that beginning of 2024. So a little over a year from now.
Yeah. And it's 12 episodes each season, which again are big package orders.
Yes, already the longest episodes, or the most episodes for a Disney Plus series, and 2 seasons, which is awesome because we love that show.
Do you think they're going to get more violent?
Oh,
They're going to get more sex?
Oh, I just read something about Disney Plus and violence that I'll come back to. But he said that season 2 will be very different from season 1. He said, I'm hoping what we're going to do in the second half, meaning season 2, will make the meal feel really satisfying. I love that phrasing. Because the first year is really about him becoming Andor, this revolutionary, this rebel. And we come back a year later, it'll be very different. The next 4 years are not about becoming a revolutionary. They're about what happens to people who are the original gangsters versus the establishment.
yeah.
I like that. We were just talking in the office too.
yeah.
Of all the characters on Andor, we only know of 3 of them that make it to Rogue One.
Yes. Mon Mothma.
Oh, sorry, 4.
Oh.
Mon Mothma, Forrest Whitaker, Diego Luna's Andor, and the dude that he just, spoiler alert, the dude he's
friend.
been hanging out with the last couple
he
episodes.
makes it to Rogue One. He just doesn't.
He doesn't make it through Rogue One.
Well, that's true.
No one does.
But even besides those 4, none of the other people we've met this season are in Rogue One. So.
Yeah, that we know of. Yeah, and that's an interesting point you bring up because this first season is like 1 year, 5 years away from Rogue One. And the next season, they're going to do more kind of jumps and cover those 4 years in between now and Rogue One.
Yes.
And get us like right up to Rogue One.
Can I say one thing?
Of
One,
course.
you can say
little
Rogue
side
One thing.
No, it's an Andor. It's an Andor and a Rogue One thing. My mom was like, I'm hearing that everyone's mad that people aren't watching Andor. Should I watch it? And I was like, yeah. And I explained it to her. And she was like, I don't know if I'm going to like a character that's already dead. And I was like, you should go check it out. And then this morning she was like, are you watching it?
Yeah,
I was like,
Jessica's mom.
I think
Jessica-
she's further than me. She was like, he's so fine. I think she's also like
She's got a reason.
Yeah, I think she likes the story, and she doesn't normally like Star Wars. So Andor taking my mom is a big deal, but she genuinely loves him. She's
Diego
like,
Luna.
I'm now gonna look into everything he does.
I'm doing one a day, so I'm ready for the finale. I
Yeah.
just started. I'm excited one day, and then when we're done with 2 seasons, it's 24 hours. It's exciting. We have a whole day of Andor.
Ooh, I might start
12 times
rewatching
a
one
day.
day. Frey Girl in the super chat, you are all my tribe. I would start a rebellion with you all. Which arc has been your favorite this season of Andor? I mean, we can't stop talking about the last episode. That whole prison arc.
The prison arc was pretty good.
Is just, and like what a case study in like kind of minimalism. But I mean, it's hard to pick one.
It's great.
Also, I'm for Emperor Palpatine, so that's crazy for a girl that you would decide to be on my side.
Well, we'll be rebelling against
Hey,
you.
hey, I'm a follower.
I think
It's
the
easier.
Heist arc was pretty good too.
Ooh, yeah.
Under the
Speaking of Emperor Palpatine, DC's David Zaslav.
Are you calling David Zaslav?
Do it!
I mean,
Cancel the bad girl!
let's just say David Zaslav, who's currently running Warner Discovery, in charge of HBO Max. And hey, come on the show, Zaslav.
No,
We'd love to have you
We'd
on
love
the
to have
show.
you.
We're live.
I'm sure, like we all have the wrong interpretation of you. He's the guy that killed Batgirl, that killed Scoob, a holiday haunt.
he really crossed you.
You kill Scoob.
He crossed
That
you.
was a bridge too far. for me. But
Is John Wick a WB franchise? Is he going to get attacked for taking out Scoob?
ooh, yeah, don't mess with the dog. But David Zaslav, he's a businessman. He's not a creative. He comes from Discovery, where he's famous for like launching a lot of reality TV. And so he comes in and he's running the DC franchise, the Harry Potter franchise. There's a lot of the stuff. And
Dune?
Dune? Don't you dare touch Dune, Zaslav. The spice must flow.
Look at his face.
I'm dead serious. But anyway,
I don't talk about Dune. I don't talk about Dune.
and so like, and you know, Warner Discovery, they merged. They're under a lot of debt. HBO Max doesn't have enough subscribers. So they're cutting content. It's a little doom and gloom over there. But the bright spot, they hired
Dune and gloom.
Dune and gloom. They did hire James Gunn and Peter Safran to run DC Films, and that is like pretty universally praised so far. We're all really excited to see what they can do. And Zaslav said that they are writing a Bible for DC Films, and they're coming close to finishing that.
What's a Bible?
Well, so I know in like screenwriting, particularly for television, they often create Bibles for shows that are kind of like describes every character, their arcs, their backstory, whether that stuff makes it into the script or not. It's helpful to pitch the show and for the executives and the actors and things
Well,
like
and that way you can bring in writers and be like, read this so you understand.
This is our continuity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And like 5 years
What about
in,
a
you've
real
got-
Bible?
There is no such thing as the real Bible.
Oh,
Tommy,
this took a
you
turn.
say that while Tommy's not here.
The real Bible is a collection of other stories from around the world, mostly like Sumerians, the Phoenicians a little bit, then
got it.
repurposed into a
Okay.
story that fits into a narrative established by a religious conglomerate that controls the world.
Which also features space wizards.
Yeah.
Just
That's right.
a singular
this.
space wizard.
Thank you.
Well dressed like a Jedi.
And a Messiah in the desert, like Dune. Okay.
Please don't get rid of Dune.
The sleeper has been awoken!
That's right. He is the Kizat Sadarak. Okay, but Zaslav said, I think over the next few years, you're going to see a lot of growth and opportunity around DC.
Oh,
AKA, this is him talking to shareholders, right? You're going to see growth.
To give us money.
There's not going to be 4 Batmans. That's kind of the quote we all jumped on. There's
He's
not
already
going to
open
be.
with that. There's a lot of opportunity, but not a lot of Batman.
Yeah, which, to put those two thoughts together, a lot of growth and opportunity, but fewer. Now, do you think he meant there's not going to be 4 Batmans? There's going to be 9 Batmans?
I just imagine everyone rose their hands and he says, there's not going to be 4 Batmans, and then everyone slowly puts their hands back down.
He pulled a James Cameron. He had Batman written on the board. He comes in, he draws a Batman with an S on the end, and makes the S a $sign.
Yeah.
Batman.
Universe.
Batman.
That's very funny.
And again, the other part of his quote, James and Peter, referring to James Gunn and Peter Safran, are going to drive the hell out of DC. Which is interesting. I mean, hey, we would love it. More DC content, especially great content from James Gunn and with his stamp of approval. That would be awesome. It's interesting because, like, so far they've canceled DC content. They are reversing the hell out of DC.
I'm not vouching for that at all, especially if they take Dune away from Zach, because I will also riot with Zach. But do you think that since they canceled all these things, they're like, okay, now our budget for you, James Gunn, is to go wild?
Well, I don't know if it's go wild, but I think they had to show the investors, like, hey, we're in this deficit. Hey, this is the bottom line. I don't envy Zaslav being the guy that literally has to put things on the chopping block.
Yeah.
But now he was, I think, very smart too. Before there's a fandom, before there's a Comic-Con, before there's any real announcements, he goes, hey, I know you're really mad at me, but I got you the best duo possible.
Right.
And now I'm going to let them make you guys happy. Like, I think it was really smart to be the bad guy figurehead, because if this works out in a year, if we get to Comic-Con in July, and they go like, hey, here's a 5-year plan, and it's everything we want. Like, he tweeted Mr. Terrific today, and like, that's a great power move to start things off with. And that's also a really good opportunity because he's so online to kind of crowdsource what fan opinion is. But leading up to July, we'll have forgotten our rage. And therefore, when this announcement comes out, he's gonna be like, see, I did this. Yeah. Like, you get the negativity out of the way, you hire the 2 best people for the job, you let things percolate, and then you show a plan that's confident. It sounds like they're making a Bible for a long period of time. I think you come out swinging at Comic-Con, and by then we will have largely maybe forgiven.
And all it takes is like the equivalent of Kevin Feige on stage at Hall H, bringing out some famous actor to play a character we love, bringing out a director, announcing a few new projects. Give us a sizzle reel, give us a trailer, and we can forget about all the sins of the past.
I was very excited for Batgirl. I am very excited to one day, which is not possible legally, to see Batgirl. But
we will find a hole in a fence somewhere at
watch
Warner Brothers that we can peek through. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, once Man of Steel 2 is said out loud, there is going to be a very big shift. As soon as things like that start coming out of the gate, and with characters like, Mr. Terrific, who they teased today, there is a good opportunity for the C and D listers, no disrespect for a character that a lot of people just don't know yet. James Gunn is very good at making you love. The fact that Guardians of the Galaxy is a household name is preposterous. Yeah. So not only is he going to be able to wield the Supermans, Wonder Womans, and Batmans, but will he be able to have maybe your Plastic Mans, maybe your Lobos, all these characters that can fortify the universe that can cost about $100 million, and then Zaslav can make a $200 million profit off $100 million, and start making your way back towards the mega budget films. And I think that, letting the Batman run wild with Reeves, and those movies cost so much less if there's not COVID protocols being implemented with that first movie, which doubled its budget. Then you've got the opportunity to have a high profit margin using these hard directors with this great yield to, over the course of 5 years, build back to as big as Marvel is currently. I think it's a long-term great move, but it's a marathon people got to trust in, and I hope I'm right, because if I'm wrong, we're just screwed. No. There's really it's this or burn.
And we do know they're committed to theatrical releases, right? Like, that was part of the pivot of Batgirl. They only want to do movies that are going to go out in theaters, and we're excited. We love movies in theaters.
Just let Aquaman 2 come out. Jason Momoa is waiting.
Shazam!
I know.
Let Aquaman 2 come out.
Those kids are buying homes. Those kids are
again, the Stranger Things problem.
When I watched the trailer, I was like, and I looked them up, and I was like, okay, this child's getting to start to look like actual Megan Good. You guys need to start switching it up.
Eventually, he can play the Zachary Levi character.
That one girl is playing her Mary.
Yeah, she's
Mary Marvel is
the older sister is playing
So
herself.
I'm excited to see that plot point, but at the same time, like, Asher and Jack are just like, but we have a mortgage. Like, they're like,
we got a couple of Black Panther headlines, and then we're going to move on to the main topic, talking about Val. But in an interview with IndieWire, Angela Bassett, forever our Queen Ramonda, she was talking about when she learned about her character, spoiler warning, her character dying in the film. When she learned that, she said to director Ryan Coogler, and I will not do an Angela Bassett Ramonda at the UN.
No one's asking you
speech.
to. No one's asking
Tone,
you
but
Where's
to.
Thomas Crown?
You practice.
Can you
for hours in
imagine
the office.
her with all the pathos and the acting power that Angela Bassett can summon, her chewing out Ryan Coogler? She said, Ryan, what are you doing? Why? You will rue the day. You will rue the demise of Ramonda. People are going to be so upset. And Ryan Coogler was like, Angela, I know, but look, to die is not really to die in this world. It doesn't have to mean that. Now, do you think that was him having to remind an adult woman that her character dying does not mean that she dies in real life? Or that was probably more likely
That was like the
him
comic
saying,
book,
your character is not necessarily gone forever.
Imagine being Ryan Coogler telling Angela Bassett that her character will die, and then her being like, what's wrong with you? And even if it's jokingly, I'm like, look here. I know, Angela. I'm so sorry, Miss Bassett, but I gotta kill you. Like,
Well, but this is also, I mean, Angela Bassett works and gets paid well, but this is probably her bigger paychecks.
Oh,
these 2 films
100.
in the last.
Well,
Well,
and
actually-
more people have seen these 2 films
Yeah.
than honestly have probably seen all other combined Angela
I
Bassett
wonder
films. You know?
that, and I wonder how much she actually does get paid for American Horror Story, because I'm sure Ryan Murphy, she was on after for a while, a couple seasons, so Ryan Murphy probably makes her to pay Angela Bassett a hefty fee. But the second movie of Black Panther probably pays double that.
And there's not that many badass roles for 60-something women in Hollywood
That
where
is
you get to
true.
be a queen and a fighter and you get to give great speeches and you're in a movie
It's
that
interesting.
everybody will see.
Do you think Viola Davis auditioned for the Ramonda role?
Oh, I would like to see.
I
the,
know
like-
she auditioned for something.
real.
I would like to see the
I
what
know
if
she
what
auditioned
if
for
their
something.
roles switched
Oh,
and
that's gonna be
Viola was
such a
playing
good-
Ramonda and Bassett
Oh,
was
she was-
playing
in
Amanda
DC?
Waller.
Yeah.
They-
that would be interesting.
the thing is, that switch could easily be done and
Yeah.
be so good.
And they'd be so different.
So
Like, I can
good.
see her as Waller being so differently intimidating. That's fascinating. I mean, her traps. She has better traps than me. Angela Bassett's like
Same with Viola
incredible.
Davis. Viola Davis is built like
Yeah.
a
I don't
damn
know.
brick house.
Neither of them, like, they don't make sense. How good a shape they're in. It does that. You can't think about it too hard. Theodore Harris sending in a super chat. Thank you. One day I would love a story with Bashenga, the
Yes.
first Black Panther.
That would be so
Hell
good.
yeah. Speaking of Viola Davis and her Woman King, right? Like a warrior kind of film set in the past in Africa, like, that'd be pretty badass.
Did you see it?
I have not seen it
I
yet.
haven't seen it yet either.
I want to.
The
Everybody
reason
said
I
it was
haven't
good.
seen it is I'm afraid that I'll get very angry. I'll get very angry because
You're
we
waiting
know
till you
the
got some
story.
days off.
We know the story behind in the movie, and I'm like, ooh.
I will get very angry.
And then final headline here. Apparently, Robert Downey Jr. called up Dominique Thorne
Love
while filming Wakanda Forever, and kind of just like as a fellow, supersuited Marvel character, he just gave her some words of encouragement. He said he wanted the Riri Williams character to like be its own thing and not be like weighted down by the legacy of Iron Man. And he was just like, she said he was just super kind and encouraging and said all the beautiful things that you hope to hear from the Iron Man himself.
I would hope
I love
that, like, especially even characters that did pass away, I'm sorry to force them in this hole or box. I would hope that they do kind of reach out to their new counterparts in a way and be like, you're going to be fine.
And how
Because they've
nice
been doing it for so long.
in Hollywood can be so cutthroat, but it's because he got to call his own shot, because he got to go out on his own terms. He does feel like kind of a paternal thing. He's not bitter that they killed him off or
Right.
like that he doesn't get to play that character. He chose to walk away, but he still has like kind of that fatherly ownership over, and he wants to make sure the new people feel
He
welcome.
wanted the freedom to do his own things. He did Dr. Doolittle, and he was probably like, "Can we unkill Tony Stark?"
That was
Get outta
before.
here.
That was before.
Please.
That was
Yeah,
before.
but That was his exit
That
strategy.
was, and that was
It
also
didn't go
his
so
choice. No,
great.
he should not
No,
have
it
taken
was
that
fine.
role.
It was
He shouldn't
fine.
have taken that role.
It was
He shouldn't
fine.
have taken
Where's
that role.
Sherlock Holmes 3?
We're
That's
waiting.
what I
He's
want.
Isn't
want it.
Oppenheimer?
I want Sherlock
and he'll be
Holmes
fine.
3.
Oppenheimer's gonna be great.
Oppenheimer's
Sherlock
gonna be fine.
Holmes 3.
I'm excited for the documentary about his dad.
Do it, Guy Ritchie.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that
Senior.
trailer just came out. Yeah, that looks
December
great.
4th, that drops on Apple TV.
Very excited for that.
Apple.
Not a plug. I just made it sound like
Hell
one.
yeah, dude.
Guy loves Apple TV.
Apple TV is the best streaming service available. $5.99 a month.
Pay us and we'll extrapolate on that, Apple TV. But you know who is paying us this week?
Who?
Inkbox. Thank you to our friends at Inkbox for sponsoring all week on the Breakroom. I currently now my the white balance on the
that
camera will need to be
bicep.
adjusted.
God damn that
This
tan.
is an Inkbox.
What Dan?
I got a hold of a flex the entire time. This is an Inkbox tattoo. It's a cute little radish that I picked out. Now this guy has been on for over 2 weeks. He's just starting to fade, but he has been like
You don't
nice
shower,
and dark.
though, right?
I don't shower, especially this arm. This one's for touching. This one's for punching. No, I don't know. He's just starting to fade, but he's
Okay.
looked awesome the entire time. And I'm a person, unlike Jessica and Tommy both have tattoos. I don't have any tattoos. So it's like, when I walk by the bathroom mirror and catch a glimpse of this, it's like, oh, it's like a different version of myself. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, is this what it feels like to have a tattoo?
A radish? A
Or
little
just any
radish?
tattoo. But Inkbox, they make these really high quality temporary tattoos that last a couple weeks, as you can tell by this one's this is day 13 on this one. They have thousands of designs, including some cool artistic collaborations. They have some IP collabs for some of the fandoms you're probably into. But what I want to talk about, and I'm pretty pissed about this. Okay.
Okay.
We're currently, the main thing that we're excited about here on the Breakroom is they have this custom maker. And like Jessica was talking about yesterday about how she's kind of she has real tattoos, but she tried out an Inkbox thinking about she might get it someday. You can, if you're thinking about getting a real tattoo, you can design it in the custom collaborator.
Yeah.
They'll send you a temporary version. You put it where you want it. You can decide, oh, this is the right size, or I like this angle, or the shape, or whatever. And then you can adjust what your real tattoo is like.
That's,
Also, this is
that's
the
my
perfect
favorite
time.
reason for it.
This is the perfect time to get an Inkbox ahead of Thanksgiving to really freak out your family members.
Excellent. Oh, yeah.
Roll in with that tattoo.
You should
say,
get your-
what's up, mama? Back.
And get your
Back.
mom's name.
Now,
Get your mom's name.
Now,
That's actually a good point.
we got some custom designs just for the Breakroom. Now, these don't show up great on camera because they turn dark once they're on your skin, but they're
they're
really
very
light when they're the tattoos. This one says Mephisto Watch. We've got a new Rockstars logo, the custom NR from the YouTube page, and Tommy and I each designed our own design. And then we're running a contest the early part of this week. The winner will put their design on the other guy. Tommy won yesterday. Neither of us were here, and yet you, the viewers, voted for Tommy.
Well, they want Tommy to get the tattoo.
No, I thought it's the other way around.
Oh, no.
That means I have to get Tommy's tattoo.
That's what that means?
Okay,
We should
we need
decide.
to define.
Go over it with Brandon, because Brandon did say a logical thing yesterday.
I said, who should get the tattoo?
Oh, and Tommy won.
Yeah,
So
so
he will get the
Tommy-
tattoo.
Recipient.
Then I am sorry for what I said about the.
Now
the
they're going to
viewers.
vote for you.
I like you guys. I'm sorry. So if Tommy wins, he has to wear my It's Morbid Time tattoo. It's got a little clock there and it says It's Morbid Time in a fun font. Again, forever Morbid Time.
I'm not trying to sway people, but you should vote for Zach, because this Gucci to Moochie.
It's huge.
Look at
It's
it.
Gucci to Moochie
In Harry style- or not Harry style,
in a
Harry
Harry Potter
Potter
format.
font.
It will have to be it will take up an entire half of my chest or
please
something
vote
like
for
that.
Zach.
Or
Please vote
I
for
might do
Zach.
tramp stamp.
Oh,
with it. But I don't want to. Wait. I should not be selling this so hard.
Look at it's
giving them
just
so
so.
many
Can you?
ideas.
Can we? I want them to see how much of the
So
Harry
let's-
Potter font.
Let's run a poll right now. We're doing best of 3 on these polls. Yesterday, Tommy won. Who should get a tattoo, Zach or Tommy?
Okay.
I wish it went Gucci and then to Moochie, like down.
Oh, it should have
You
been
can still
vertical.
That's
cut
a
it
good
that way.
tramp
You
stamp.
We
could
could
still
cut
cut
it.
it that
You
way.
can make it too Moochie.
What if you get
do this.
Gucci on your little lower back?
Oh no! I'm currently
you're
at
winning.
56%. I did too good of a job selling the tramp stamp version.
I mean, we got we want to go to 3 days of voting.
Yeah, it's
We
gotta
don't
be,
want
'cause if there's
Tommy
a
to win
tiebreaker,
today.
it's
We
gotta
gotta
I
have
just
that
thought
tiebreaker
about it.
now.
Also, if you make this in a tram stand, it'll be too close to the actual Gucci. So maybe.
Hey yo!
From my Gucci
To my
To my
Moochie.
Just let it be figurative. Just let it guide you on the way
That's
down.
right. That's right. Hey, to get your own,
no.
to check out all the other Inkbox tattoos, to do your own custom design, or to check out all their designs, click the link that's either on screen right now or that's in this video description, and use code NEWROCKSTARS, our name, to get 25% off your entire order. So if you want to get 10 tattoos to 1,000, I was thinking too, the old joke about you go on spring break and you get an ugly tattoo. What you could do, if you got a crew of people you go on vacation with, get them all the fake tattoos.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can all get tattoos and not regret it in 10 years. you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, use code NEWROCKSTARS, 25% off your order of Inkbox. Thank you to Inkbox.
Your entire order.
I saw someone ask, I currently don't have any tattoos. I have 7 I want.
Whoa.
The problem is I've designed 7 that I love, and I know once I start, I won't stop. So I've not started because it'll be a long year. And I got to make sure I'm employable. So
Cool.
once I have a job, that's a full-time job equals 7 tattoos.
Dolly Parton's covered in tattoos.
That's what they say.
It's true, but the first one I want is, I always say you either die as Spider-Man or live long enough to see yourself become a Deadpool. So I want to do a yin-yang of Spider-Man and Deadpool,
gotcha.
and that way one way is Spider-Man, one way is Deadpool. So the idea would be if I'm feeling one way or the other, and it's very forward, right? So if I work for
You just want to
DC,
show off your arms.
then I mean,
You just have to invest in long sleeve shirts.
Also,
you
where's
know?
my name going?
Well, obviously down the tricep because the show is a fan of my triceps. So
Boy, I always say eating ain't cheating, and so that's why I'm gonna get tattooed.
Where?
On my body. In a secret place.
You guys
Moving
can't
on?
joke about tattoos because I love them.
The only tattoos I've ever wanted are like the big ones. I want the full red dragon on my back.
So on the year
I want
of the
romper
dragon.
stomper. These are all problematic people.
The Ben Affleck. The Ben Affleck.
I like the big tattoos that take
like a
up,
whole
all-
back, like
yeah.
Red Dragon.
Yeah, I want the Yakuza
the
koi
full,
fish all
yeah.
down.
So
the
yeah, so I'm the
full-
year of the dragon. My name's Koi, and in some mythology, if koi swim upstream, become dragonfly. Dragonflies represent creative freedom. So theoretically, I could get me as a hieroglyphic, my name, my year, and my profession, with just a dragon, a koi, and a dragonfly. But now we're creating a whole body art situation.
I mean, you speak of the hieroglyphics. The Egyptians had the concept of horror vacui. They did not like empty space in their art. That's why it's always full of stuff. They did not like empty space.
Brandon's so smart.
Yeah, I
You
love
can't,
that
you
you're
can't
just
get you
inside.
one tattoo. You've got to come.
Yeah,
back.
he's
them all.
describing my
We gotta
Okay.
catch them all. Folks, let's talk about our main discussion today, okay?
Tattoos?
Tattoos. Speaking of tattoos, there was no tattoo or actual representation of Dr. Doom in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That's why Tommy's been suspended, because he promised us. But yeah, we didn't get our Doom cameo that a lot of people said was going to be there. And a lot of people were like, whoa, we never said that. But he wasn't there. But we did get a surprise cameo from our lady, the beautiful Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And she's now been confirmed as the director of the CIA, which is like a pretty big deal because that's a very forward-facing role in the government. Before she was just kind of this shadowy figure, but now she's there. And one line she said in the film that really stood out was that she dreamed about the U.S. being the only country in the world with vibranium, which is a concept I really liked in this movie, where the first Black Panther ended on this promising note of like, we're Wakanda, we're here to share our valuable resources with the world and our technology, blah, blah, blah. In this movie, it's immediately like, yeah, you're here, but now we hate you because we don't trust you and you have all this power, and we don't like that you've completely reset the hierarchy of power in the MCU. So she's worried, right? So Val works for the government. We can assume what she's doing is cool with like the other top brass. Maybe a congressional committee had to approve of some of this stuff. I don't know. And she wants this vibranium for herself. But what if it's not just for weapons? What if there's something else about this vibranium she wants it for? And it's kind of magical properties when it touches soil and plants. Do we think that Val knows about the heart-shaped herb and its properties, and that it was formed by the Wakanda meteorite? I don't know what Val knows about the Talokans. As far as we know, they're secret from the rest of the world. Maybe Val knows about it and is not playing her hand there. But she could know about their plant as well. Is that a possibility here? We know the love for the super soldier serum in the MCU. Is this like their back door to it? Like, oh, maybe if we like plant some vibranium in some soil with some aloe plants, we can get our own little thing going.
Oh, but it's
moisturize.
topical? It's
Right,
a topical
right.
solution?
You little sunbird, you little super soldier power. Well, in the comics, especially the Ultimate comics, which the movies have a lot of Venn diagram commonalities with, the Hulk was basically a super soldier gone awry. There's a lot of like, we kept trying to recreate Cap, which turned into this. So I could easily see, especially after the commentary we got with Abomination recently in She-Hulk, it looks like the drive to make super soldiers is stronger than ever. Between that mention, between U.S. Agent, between all these things. So I could easily see them spinning that into trying to appropriate the heart-shaped herb and steel. And if we've already seen and laid out very clearly the invasion of Wakanda, and we know we got a Wakanda show coming, and we've got the Thunderbolts, and they're basically making a Dark Avengers. I don't think we're ever going to have something called the Dark Avengers, because it sounds to me like Thunderbolts are the Dark Avengers. How do you power up new recruits? And I think that the heart-shaped herb is now their GMO.
quick way.
Does she know about the heart-shaped herb, though?
I think that
Because
she
I thought the
bugged
only white person... Well, they didn't talk about it on the phone.
Sure.
And so I was like, the only white person that actually knows about it is one is dead and one is Everett Ross. And I don't think he told her between...
I don't know. His ex-wife comes over. They have some drinks.
He's like, heart-shaped herb!
We were talking about it. It is interesting because, like, obviously we know of at least 2 Wakandan outreach centers. The one we saw in Mali in the film, and the one from Oakland in the first film. But like, they probably have more, right? And they're doing something out there with their technology and helping people. So it's like, on the one hand, like maybe a lot of people know something about more. Certainly, people know more about Wakandan technology than they did before they came out. But on the other hand, we were talking about like, there ain't no outsider tourism in Wakanda. They still have a big ass
This ain't
force
New
field.
Asgard.
You can't
This
come
ain't
in.
New
Yes,
Asgard.
yeah. There's no ride. There's no petting zoo in Wakanda for like random Italian visitors or
Was that New Asgard?
or I don't know, Canadians. I don't know, wherever people are coming from, right? So it's still a closed off society. They've obviously been picky about what they choose to share with the world, right?
And that's why I'm like, I think she knows that vibranium exists in there, especially because through history, there's the first Black Panther where there's literally vibranium tools in a museum in Europe. It's just like, oh yeah, vibranium makes its way out, but not the plant.
But they didn't know it was vibranium either, right? They just thought it was an old tool. They didn't.
Oh no, but I'm just saying
Killmonger
it's
knows vibranium.
yeah. But I'm just like if there are some weird type of scientist that is digging up these things and finds it, it's like that stuff that's on her radar probably
I
by
love
now.
the idea too that where the plant grows kind of determines its powers. Like the one plant was underwater, so when they ate it, they could live underwater.
Yeah.
The
One that's
heart-shaped
like
herb is land based, so it made you stronger and faster on the land.
What if there's one that grew on the walls of a volcano?
Yeah.
Oh,
Does
so
it
you
make
can shoot
fire
fire.
powers.
Well, you know,
can you grow in the sky so you can fly?
It's kind of interesting. This dovetails. MLS Bead sent in a super chat. Why doesn't Wakanda give every Wakandan the heart-shaped herb? So now, that's a good question. And like, it was kind of intoned in the first one. Not everybody necessarily survives that process. Maybe not everybody gets the powers. You have to be kind of the chosen one to be the Black Panther, and then you get those powers. A rando could take it and trip balls and never come back. We don't know, right? Like go to the ancestral plane and not make it back. I don't know.
I also think clearly there's this weird kind of disconnect where it's like, yeah, it was in what they ingested, they gave birth. So it passed on to the Talokan children, like the babies, but we don't, I mean, through T'Challa's son, I don't think that it will go through him to his son.
Also, isn't everyone we've met with the ability at least somewhat related to T'Challa? Because T'Challa, his cousin,
that's true.
Killmonger,
Yeah, and they didn't get it.
and they used his DNA to
that's why-
recreate it. So maybe you have to be
It's
of
a
a
genetic.
lineage.
Yeah, it's
like
a
maybe
weird-
you activate something in a certain genetic line.
What'd you just poop out?
I don't know, but it was.
Oh,
my
can
can-
fell
the
over.
What'd you just poop out?
I got excited about.
This sounds
Genetic
like
lines.
this sounds like
aluminium.
some stuff that the T'Challa royal family is making up to.
Yeah, they're like,
to keep
hey,
people-
you gotta
oh,
do
you
like
got
that.
the genetics for it.
Also, the hierarchy of power can't change. Like I do
know
think
it.
it's dangerous to have everyone
Yeah.
have the power.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
could
yeah.
you imagine if I got a hold of it and I was also in Wakanda?
Or
I
Daniel
would just-
Kaluuya, right? Like if he got it and he was
Oh, yeah,
riding those
sure.
rhinos
I was
and then he
like,
fought
I'd
T'Challa.
be stealing things all the time from my own people.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about beforehand the connection here to the Thunderbolts.
Right, and you brought up like the Dark Avengers. Like, are they going to be more like that? Are they going to be more like the traditional Thunderbolts? I mean, the lineup they've kind of presented is not a traditional Thunderbolts lineup. You know, this is a lot of hand-to-hand combat people, not a lot of powers per se, capital P powers, except for like Ghost. But most of them are like accidental powers or like given powers in a weird way.
Some super soldier serum
Yeah.
enhanced individuals with
Right,
Red
right.
Guardian and Bucky, but yeah.
And like someone like Yelena is just peak human, right? They're not powered up at all in any ways. So is it possible that this Thunderbolts movie, the plot of it could be something along the lines to like infiltrate Wakanda or Talokan at this point and steal their vibranium-rich soil and their vibranium so that the government can create their own army of super soldiers and Iron Man? You know, this next stage, because we know like Armor Wars is coming, New World Order comes before Thunderbolts. Is the New World Order that like everyone's got strong guys? Now we need lots of strong boys out there. The Power Broker's supplier of super soldier serum, the last person we knew who could make it, is now dead. Thunderbolt Ross has always been obsessed with it. It's how the leader got. It's how Hulk
Who's
got
coming
made,
back.
right? They
And
kinda
the leader's
took that
coming back.
and the leader's coming back in New World Order. So is that the possibility they're going to go here? I mean, they discovered this vibranium in the ocean. They still know where it is. It's not like that's
That
gone
information
now.
will go
It's
away.
still right there. I mean, they got to get past the Talokanil to get it.
Watch
but,
out for
like,
those giant ass jellyfish.
Watch out for them jellyfish, dog.
What I think is interesting is that everyone on the team is reformed. So if you look at the actual team of Thunderbolts, in the comic books, they're a bunch of villains pretending to be heroes
Still
to
villains,
infiltrate.
still
but they know
villains.
they're
Yeah,
villains.
yeah.
Like those guys are like, I'm a bad guy, I'm
They
doing
go to
good
jail at
things
night and
yeah.
they get to eat. Venom gets to eat people. Like,
Right,
they're
and then
still
just
villains.
that's your reward. It's a lot more like Suicide Squad. This isn't like Suicide
Yes.
Squad. This is a bunch of reformed heroes that I imagine the leadership is dastardly. So I think it's going to be a bunch of good guys being convinced to do a bad thing, which lends itself to Wakanda. Because if you're going to be doing something that is a positive to you, that you wouldn't know is bad. It would have to be something like on a macro scale. So someone claiming Wakanda invaded, someone claiming that Talokans are a threat, then you send your agency, your Thunderboltsies, and then they basically do a bad thing even though they're good people because they think they're Avengers. They also look at the parallel of these characters. Like you've got a Captain America, a Black Widow, a Hulk if Abomination comes in like we all think he is. Everyone kind of parallels the OG. So like if you got a team of Avengers for the public, what better way to hoodwink the public than like, hey guys, we know how much you love these heroes. We got their Walmart versions, and like you throw them at whatever, and then you're good.
Isn't that the guy that killed someone publicly?
Yeah, but
we've definitely gotten away with way more.
No. I just think it's so funny. There's gonna be one family that's like,
wait a second.
Yeah, I know that guy. That was my favorite thing about the Dark Avengers comic book run was that like they literally wore the costumes of the regular Avengers, and the public had no idea. Like Norman Osborn was wearing Iron Man's suit, and he's like, "I'm Iron Man, baby."
Because the public is not watching new Rockstars videos to break down.
That's actually the wrong suit.
Lil Zay, I think I'm pronouncing your name, and had a chat. What if Andy Serkis's character Claw from the original Black Panther film? Maybe he was telling people about some of these Wakandan secrets, right? Because he was a guy that got a hold of some vibranium, and he was out in the world selling it to bad parties. So, like, yeah, maybe he also had some knowledge about
getting drunk on his old.
Also,
boat.
one of these Thunderbolts knows a lot about Wakanda. White Wolf lived there.
Oh, that's true.
Did some Wakandan spa tech. Beautiful hair.
I'm not trying to be that person. But I would hate for this entire team to be like, so we invade Wakanda and nothing's wrong with that.
I do think like there's potential, not to keep referencing the most recent Suicide Squad movie, but like they were sold it's a rescue mission. Turned out it was not they were misled and it was not a rescue mission. They were there to do something entirely different. So like you could convince Red Guardian, Yelena, all these people like, hey, we know you have a checkered history. Here's an opportunity to do great. Break into Wakanda and steal this, let this scientist go that's being held captive. They get in there and they realize like, oh, we're not doing the right thing.
I just need a really good justification for Bucky to be like, well, we could just alert the Dora Milaje that, because it's like they're better than he is. So it's like
turn him bad again. I'm sick of nice.
Literally make him.
I want angry Bucky back. Well, let's get to the real question here behind this discussion. Is Val doing this all on her own, or is she working with someone else? There's the idea that she's a Skrull, yes, but to what end? I don't know.
To what end?
All this.
Yeah, like what would be the Skrull agenda? And maybe we'll find out in Secret Invasion.
By the time distrust in the government. If a leader in government is revealed to be an alien, all of a sudden all bets are off.
Well, I mean, that was what happened in Peacemaker, and it clearly was a great idea.
And the irony of, traditionally the CIA has worked to destabilize other countries, right? By
look it up,
eroding.
Do your own research.
The population's trust in their government.
Noriega.
What if she were doing that for her own government? You know what I mean? She was a double agent, basically working against the greater good of the American government.
Go ahead.
No, you go, because it's on his line.
Well, I was going to say, by the time we get to Thunderbolts, do you think she's still the director of the CIA? Or does something happen in between now? I'm talking like Captain America 4, New World Order, and then Thunderbolts, where she's out of the CIA and she's like, we got to do this on our own, folks.
Yes,
and that's when her boss, Zola, shows up and is like, the algorithm says you must form the Thunderbolts.
I think
I was disagreeing with you. But I agree with you in the way that I don't think she's going to have that position. I think she's I would love her to be a Skrull, I think, for storyline. That helps us get more into Secret Invasion. But I also really love the idea that Thunderbolt Ross is still higher than her, and she works directly for him.
I like that. Makes a lot of sense.
I think Mr. Harrison Ford plays another get off my plane president. I think we have someone at the top talking to Val, and I think that's
Thunderbolt Ross gets elected president.
Because in the comics, Norman Osborn is.
That would be great.
So if you're not using Norman, use Thunderbolt. And if you he runs as a military leader, he runs as blah blah blah. That gives him more power. You cast Harrison Ford regal tastic.
The White House Rose Garden door explodes off its hinges. As Red Hulk stomps out. This is my State of the Union.
Okay. It's my state. Wait, never mind. Kazakh.
Get off my The State of the Union is strong.
This sounds like a wrestling match.
It's a red wave. Match 143, a friend from the north, welcome from Canada, sending the super chat. Val is a Skrull and wants to acquire serums and vibranium and other super stuff to make Super Skrulls. That's a nice one.
Ready for some Super Skrulls.
Super Skrulls, a huge part of the comics. We have yet to see them portrayed on film. That would be very cool.
Fantastic Four is not far away.
But we were talking about David Harbour, who is, I mean, talk about Simu. You're still number one for who we want on this show, but David Harbour's not far behind, dude.
Two?
He's in the
Not-
top five.
not-
He's in the top five.
David Harbour's
Top
not in
five.
Barbie. I'm sorry. If you're in
That's
Barbie,
what- that's
you go to
what-
number one.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
right.
saying. I'm
Well, we
saying-
don't know if he's in Barbie
Oh,
yet.
that's true.
We don't
If
know.
you're in the MCU and in Barbie, you're number one.
I
Right.
need
I mean, if
Greta.
you're in Stranger Things, MCU, and Barbie, I mean, head explodes. But David Harbour, he's always given great quotes in the press. Another reason we love that guy. But he said, he kind of described the Thunderbolts. He was interviewed and asked about it, and he described them as losers, right? Like kind of these lovable losers, the underdog characters, right, coming together. But he said they're going to do a bomb drop in their film. And do something that is like a bomb drop at the end of Phase 5, which we've been speculating, what does that mean? It could be a
drop
literal
an actual
bomb.
literal
They just
bomb.
drop a literal
Yeah.
bomb. But maybe it's more of a metaphoric, like kind of blow up the MCU as we know it in some way.
Like, I don't want to be an asshole, but it's like, wouldn't you say drop a bomb? You know, like wouldn't you say it a little bit differently? if
bomb
it was,
drop
like,
might be more like
metaphys-
mic drop,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's why I'm. Or no, I'm thinking the other way. I think drop a bomb is a mic drop. I think bomb.
The tone in the interview was sort of like a mic drop.
Yeah, John is saying the tone he had in the interview was more like mic drop than like Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
I mean, I love a good take something out of context and make it bigger than it is. So I got a theory. In the comics, Thunderbolts and Civil War and all of the Sokovia Accords happened because of an explosion. There's a character called
right.
Penance, who was Speedball, one of my favorite C-list characters, who's this new warrior, this really hyperactive, I identify with this young man, character that like doesn't really fit anywhere, and he's hyper neurotic and he's crazy and he bounces all over the place, and then he accidentally causes a thing that explodes a school, and tons of children die in Stanford, Connecticut. And the Stanford incident is what leads into the Sokovia Accords. They called it Sokovia because of the events of Ultron. In the comics, it's Stanford. But in that world, it's a hero that causes the deaths of so many. If the Thunderbolts are seen as heroes and the end of the movie ends with a hero destroying something, it'd be really interesting if that led into a new Kamala's Law, if that led into another round of Civil War, if that led directly into Armor Wars. That it is all about undermining authority and causing people to want to put their thumb down on those in power. And this could allow for that if this is...
I think there's a lot of room to do some permanent damage to the Earth leading up to Secret Wars, because Secret Wars can reset everything, right? It can be like, oh, we're gonna move everyone to this new planet where we can all live in harmony. Or they can do a lot of damage to this planet, and it'd be pretty insane.
Interesting. Or they, it's mostly they lose the entire public goodwill, but they regain the public goodwill by fighting and destroying this insane extra force.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We need to have public goodwill be uncertain whether they're with or against heroes before X-Men. And I think the best way to have all of this lead up to X-Men, which are not coming soon, we're talking 5-6 years soonest, but if there's this undercurrent of we don't trust, and then you've got Fantastic Four being Marvel's first family, look at these explorers, these heroes, this family, this unit, and you've got them as this like beacon of good, and then the X-Men are not long after, and then it's like the people that don't trust heroes now have these mutants. And that'd be really interesting to have the dichotomy between these Fox characters that are coming into play at the same time-ish.
Yeah. And then real quick, because it's also in the thumbnail, so we got to address it. What if Doom is behind Val? Right? What if she's assembling Vibranium to serve this master? Right? Because like it's been my hobby horse of like she doesn't really say what her agenda is. Sure, she dreams of the U.S. being the sole owner of Vibranium, but we have no other signs that she's patriotic. We have no other signs of like what is she out for?
She
right?
doesn't wear a flag on her lapel.
That's right. Hey, the streak in her hair is neither red, white, nor blue. Right?
Skrulls wear a lot of purple.
Oh. Good point. But like, what if I'm just thinking back to like, phases 1 through 3, where we get like Loki is the villain in the first Avengers movie, but there's somebody behind Loki. It's Thanos, right? Like, what if there's somebody behind Val who's been sprinkled into all these projects now, but like she's working for a greater master with a different agenda that will only be revealed in time? And what if that is Doom, right? Maybe she's a double agent. Maybe Doom in the MCU will be an apparatus of the U.S. government somehow, right?
I'm just glad, and I think it's very possible, and I love the idea of, I do think Kang and Doom are going to have some collaboration. But I'm very glad, just while we're on the subject of Doom, we heard all those rumors about a post-credit scene, even that like another actor was in it that was revealed to be another thing. I don't remember the details, because I genuinely would rather be like, than see it in like a shot on the internet and tweet, like through Spider-Man. But I do think that there is an opportunity for the Doom character to be introduced in another property. But if it was in Wakanda, I think that would have caused the commercial thing that everyone was complaining about. Like a lot of people said that like all the Raw storyline with her felt like it was just setting up Thunderbolts. I personally didn't feel that because it felt geopolitical. Can you imagine if we had that post-credit scene with, spoiler alert, you're still here, the Prince T'Challa post-credit scene, and then like 5 minutes later, after we're all crying at our seats, it's like, here's the new action figure.
Yeah.
So like,
funny
I
scene.
do think it's really smart to wait, even if it does end up being the reason for the conflict. I'm glad they didn't try to shoehorn that into this 2.5 hours, because it would have made everything feel false.
Yeah, and we've got 3 movies next year and like 6 Disney Plus series. They've got a lot of opportunities to sneak some Doom into our lives. Yeah.
Doom is going to show up with a lot of power, and when it comes to climate action, your money is power.
That's a transition right there, folks.
With aspiration, a new kind of change is in your pocket. And I'm not talking about loose change. I'm talking about changing the world. Simply by moving your money to Aspiration, you're giving your deposits a cleaner, greener home. Aspiration is a climate-friendly alternative for your money. Get an account and debit card that's built to help your wallet and the planet. Aspiration lets you plant a tree by rounding up every swipe of your debit card. Chips, tree, soda, tree. I buy everything individually with my debit card.
That's not efficient, Brandon.
Aspiration's been hard at work helping people align their money with their values, funding the planting of over 100 million trees. Like I said before, it's 50 million hammocks, folks. On their way to funding the planting of 1 billion trees by 2030. It's no wonder why Forbes, NerdWallet, and the Penny Hoarder recommend Aspiration for the eco-conscious. Best of all, there's no credit check, no overdraft fees. And with Aspiration, you just pay what you think is fair, even if that's zero, because money shouldn't stand in the way of you doing the right thing. Make your dollars make a difference. Open an Aspiration account at aspiration.com/tree, T-R-E-E. Help save the planet with your Aspiration debit card. Open your account at aspiration.com/tree today. Again, that's aspiration.com/tree. Terms and conditions apply. Aspiration is not a bank. Deposits are FDIC insured up to $2 million per depositor.
$2 million?
That's right. You've got it, Jess. I've seen it.
Things are going well if you need that insurance on $2 million deposits.
We've also been reminding you for weeks now, to check out the second season of the hit show DC's Batman: The Audio Adventures, which is out now on HBO Max.
Real quick, if anybody in the chat has been watching that show and you have some favorite moments or some thoughts you want to share, throw those in the chat and we'll try to read those.
Yeah. It's an incredible cast. Again, this is like an audio show on a streaming platform. I know it's blowing your minds right now, but you can do it. The cast includes Rosario Dawson, John Leguizamo, Bobby Moynihan, Chris Parnell, Seth Meyers, Kenan Thompson, and Jeffrey Wright as the Batman himself. Do you think he had to audition for that? I don't know. It's an incredible show full of crime.
Jeffrey Wright, he's offer only, dude. That dude doesn't audition.
I think they said
absolutely, 100%.
They sent him the script and he was like, this doesn't look like anything to me.
Yeah, there it is. Westworld callback.
Westworld. Zaslav!
Oh, God. You
He can't keep getting away with it!
He's on my Westworld!
Dune is still there. Dune is still there.
Dune! School! It's Batman: The Audio Adventures. It's an incredible show. It's got crime, it's got humor, and it's got tons of Batman lore. And it was created by longtime SNL writer Dennis McNichols. That's for you SNL stands out there.
Hey.
Tune in for a tale of life and death in Gotham City. Is there any other way? The whole first season is already available to stream, and season 2 is out now on HBO Max. Stream DC's Batman: The Audio Adventures. Season 2 now on HBO Max.
Oh.
Marjo32 in the chat saying, hearing Bobby is hilarious.
Bobby Moynihan plays the Penguin in the series.
Are they saying that they're hearing that Bobby Moynihan is hilarious? Or
I'm hearing Bobby's
Bobby is hilarious?
We don't know.
I think hearing Bobby's version of the
Lorenzo Napolitano said, I liked when Batman said, it's batting time, and batted all over the Joker.
I don't know if
That could
Lorenzo's
be true
joking
or
or
not.
not.
I don't know. I hope that's true. I just batted all over myself.
Can you imagine Jeffrey Wright saying, it's batting time?
It's batting time. It's
But
good.
dead serious with that bass and
batting time.
the vibrato of his voice or whatever? Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if we have time.
We can do it quick.
Oh, or
You
we
wanna
could
save
tease it for tomorrow.
Let's tease it for tomorrow.
Let's tease it. We
Save
have a
for
really
tomorrow.
fun mandatory fun, but we ran out of time today. But Jessica put a lot of work into it, so you got to show up tomorrow to see it.
Look at that's a face of someone who put a lot of work into it.
It's all the
You
work.
did.
There's also my Robert De Niro.
Get it first one more time. There it is.
Say it's batting time.
No, can you do your Al Pacino voice? Because I like your Al Pacino.
Whoa, it's batting time. You're all up in it.
That's how
He's really good
He's
at
got a
impressions.
badass.
The thing,
And you're all up in it.
It's that one I was looking for. We should have a redemption one day that's you and Tommy going against each other with impressions.
Does he do Pacino too, or
I just
just
do two
general?
All of them. Tommy's really good at Al Pacino.
My De Niro looks like Grumpy Cat.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like. Is there a difference? Has anyone put those two together?
I've never seen him in the same room at the same place. The Dumpy Cat. That's a
that's
different
me.
cat.
Grumpy Cat.
Grumpy Cat is
Garfield
dead,
on
apparently,
Sundays.
but De Niro's still alive. Maybe he
Apparently.
was just
Allegedly.
tired of being Grumpy Cat.
Allegedly.
He's like, I gotta kill off Grumpy Cat.
We thank everybody
Beard
for
in the
joining
show, I
us
respect it.
today. Other folks that sent in super chats. Buggy Barnes ATL, thank you. Always appreciate you. Jeremy Lee, MLS Beats, Quentin.
Is it Jeremy Lee? I've always been saying Jeremy. You figured it out.
It's
You
probably
cracked the
Jeremy.
code.
It's
I don't know.
Jeremy.
Tell us.
Who is El Rata?
Or Emrata.
Also, if you're out there today
Emily
and you weren't
Ratajkowski.
able to get your Taylor Swift tickets, it's been a tough day for all of us. They moved the Capital One pre-sale time. All you Swifties out there, I feel bad for you. My wife's devastated. It's so hard to get the tickets. Let's all look out for each other, all right?
Okay,
if
and we
you're
do-
out there, if you know a Swiftie, reach out to him.
If you know a Swiftie, say something to a
Yeah, yeah.
Swiftie.
Oh, also, if you're in San Francisco, I'm hosting Fan Expo up there, so I'm going to be sitting down with the cast of Clerks, Sons of Anarchy, like all sorts of folks.
When
And
is this? Give us
I-
dates. Give us
The
times.
25th, 26th, 27th in San Francisco. So
Of
Thanksgiving
November?
This
weekend-
month?
Yeah, literally in a
Oh.
week. So a week from Friday, and like Ming Na Wen, I'm sitting down with like
My Mulan?
Titans
My
of
Mulan?
industry.
Ooh.
Dante Basco, Wilfred Dell. Like I'm running most of the tables, so I'll be there all weekend. So.
And on that same note of promoting live events, if you're in LA and you're planning to be at LA Comic Con, Breakroom will be doing a live show at the LA Comic Con.
That's right.
We'll have more details on that maybe tomorrow or later this week. But if you're going to be around, we'd love to see you. But we thank everybody for showing up. It's official. I did win the tattoo poll today, so it's 1-1. Heading
Run off
into
tomorrow.
the
Big
final,
run off tomorrow.
The final decision-making day tomorrow. Tune in to see. We appreciate you all. We hope you keep it Gucci to Moochie.
Please. Latest Gators.
Bye.
Bye.